The UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson has announced a new lockdown for England. The measures, including a closure of schools affecting almost all pupils, come as Britain raises its coronavirus alert to the highest possible level. Two Democratic Party congressmen have called on the FBI to investigate President Trump's phone call to the top election official in Georgia. They say the president's request for enough votes to be found to overturn Joe Biden's victory in the state broke election law. The UN's nuclear watchdog has confirmed that Iran is once again enriching uranium at 20% purity. That's in defiance of the 2015 agreement. Weapons-grade uranium has a purity of 90%. The US Justice Department has said it's extremely disappointed and will appeal after a court in London refused to extradite the WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange. The judge said there was a risk of suicide.
In Yemen, Prime Minister Ma'in Abdul Malik Said blames Shiite rebels and Iran for Wednesday's attack at the Aden airport, which killed at least 25 people. In Hong Kong, officials again jail democracy activist Jimmy Lai, who is awaiting trial. Lai is charged under the territory's highly criticized new national security law. In Norway, rescue efforts continue after a landslide injured at least 10 people. Several others are missing. And New Zealand is among the first countries to welcome 2021. People in Auckland celebrate with a light show and fireworks.
We begin here in Japan, where the government is planning to issue a state of emergency for a second time to contain rising coronavirus cases in Tokyo and 3 neighboring prefectures.
The number of new cases in Tokyo and the 3 prefectures accounts for about half of the national total. We take the situation seriously and believe a stronger message is necessary.
Government officials plan to issue the declaration for Tokyo, Kanagawa, Saitama, and Chiba prefectures as soon as possible this week. It's likely to be in place for around a month. A state of emergency gives prefectural governors the legal authority to urge residents to cooperate with antivirus efforts.
I've heard that the medical system is beginning to collapse. I think the decision is appropriate.
The government should have taken this step much earlier. There's a limit to what small businesses and individuals can do.
The Tokyo government confirmed 884 new cases in the capital on Monday. Officials say the number of seriously ill patients reached 108. The figure is the highest to date. Frontline medical workers say they hope discussions on the state of emergency will prompt people to be more alert.
At the very least, we need to curb infection clusters. If there is a surge in the number of infections, we may not be able to sufficiently deal with all the cases. I hope people will think about how to prevent infections once again.
The 4 governors held an online meeting to discuss ways to curb the spread of infections.
We've been asking each resident to take steps individually to reduce infection risks. On top of that, we need to restrict the movement of people and human contact as much as possible.
The governors decided to urge people to avoid non-essential outings after 8 p.m. and ask bars and restaurants to close by that time from Friday.
Considering the coronavirus situation, I can understand that the government needs to take a drastic step, but it's really tough for us.
More than 3,300 cases were reported across Japan on Monday. Over 3,600 people have died since the pandemic began. Meanwhile, the central government says it hopes to begin administering vaccines by late next month. To prepare, a city near Tokyo has appointed a team to ensure a smooth and efficient rollout for its residents. A ceremony was held in Ebina City in Kanagawa Prefecture on Monday. The team is composed of 14 members from various city departments, including the Health and Welfare Division and the Mayor's Office. They'll be responsible for sending inoculation vouchers to priority groups such as medical workers and seniors, and selecting locations and dates for the vaccinations. They'll also be tasked with providing accurate information on the vaccine's efficacy and risks. The pandemic is affecting the inaugural ceremony for U.S. President-elect Joe Biden this month. The event will be scaled back and a related virtual parade will be held. On January 20th, Biden will take the presidential oath of office at the U.S. Capitol and then enter the White House. Traditionally, new presidents take part in a parade from the Capitol to the White House, but this time the organizers decided not to hold the traditional event to avoid coronavirus infections. Instead, Biden will take a short walk to the White House, escorted by military troops. The virtual parade is aimed at celebrating people who've been fighting COVID-19 and highlighting America's diversity. The organizers are encouraging people to watch the parade on TV or online. An 82-year-old man has become the first person in the UK to receive the vaccine developed by AstraZeneca and Oxford University. The development comes as officials reported more than 50,000 new cases for the sixth day in a row amid the emergence of a new strain of the virus. Brian Pinker was inoculated on Monday morning. Britain had already approved the vaccine developed by Pfizer and BioNTech and wants tens of millions of people to get vaccinated over the next 3 months. Currently, people living in southeastern England, which includes London, are living under the toughest restrictions under a 4-tier system. But British Prime Minister Boris Johnson is warning more measures may be needed to stem the surge, though he didn't say what that may entail. Meanwhile, opposition leader Keir Starmer is criticizing the government's handling of the issue. He's calling for an England-wide lockdown within the next 24 hours, saying it's the first step to controlling the virus. Thailand plans tougher steps against the coronavirus after infections spiked. Authorities confirmed a record daily number of 745 cases on Monday, bringing the total to over 8,000. The government ordered the closure of places posing a high risk of virus transmission. New regulations will be introduced in Bangkok and 27 provinces. Authorities will work out specific measures taking into account local conditions. Bangkok earlier shut schools, nurseries, and entertainment venues such as bars and karaoke parlors. Shopping malls can stay open but must close early. Night dining at restaurants after 9 p.m. will be banned from Tuesday.
Some parents have to work. They can't take care of their children at home.
The tougher measures will make our lives worse. My son is unemployed, and I have to use my pension money to pay for living expenses. I'll have to economize.
New cases in Thailand have been in single digits most days since last May, nearly all of them foreign visitors. Monday's surge came after cluster infections broke out last month near Bangkok. Cases included workers at a seafood market, mostly migrants from Myanmar. The government has warned it may tighten controls further if the spread of the virus doesn't subside. The U.S. Defense Department has ordered a nuclear-powered aircraft carrier to remain in waters near Iran, citing threats made by the country. Acting Secretary of Defense Chris Miller revealed the order in a statement on Sunday. The USS Nimitz, which is deployed in the Persian Gulf, was due to leave there soon to return to the United States. Miller said that halting the carrier's routine redeployment is in response to recent threats issued by Iranian leaders against President Donald Trump and other U.S. government officials. He warned Iran that no one should doubt the resolve of the United States. An NHK reporter says the Pentagon made the decision amid speculation that Iran may launch retaliatory attacks as 1 year has passed since the U.S. military killed Iran's top military commander, Qasem Soleimani. Now an update on a political fund scandal involving a secretary to a former Japanese prime minister. A group of citizens has filed for an inquest panel review of a decision by prosecutors not to charge Abe Shinzo over alleged violations of the political funds control law. The group said on Monday that the prosecutor's decision involved serious factual errors and was unjust.
All the blame was put on the secretary alone, and Abe Shinzo escaped indictment. We cannot let it end like this.
The issue concerns annual parties related to cherry blossom events sponsored by the government. Abe's secretary is accused of misreporting incoming and outgoing sums totaling about $290,000 connected to dinner parties for Abe supporters. The failure to mention the sums in political funds reports occurred from 2016 to 2019. Prosecutors decided not to indict Abe, citing a lack of evidence that he was aware of the misreporting or conspired with the secretary. The legal case over the issue was finalized last month when Abe's aide paid a fine of about $10,000 without any arrest or open trial. This year's first auction of blowfish or fugu has been held in the western city of Shimonoseki in Yamaguchi Prefecture. Shimonoseki is home to Japan's largest market for the winter delicacy. Over 6 tons of wild and farmed torafugu were auctioned off at the Haidomari Fish Market early Monday morning. The auction started shortly after 3 a.m. Buyers and sellers negotiated their deals in the traditional style by grasping each other's fingers inside a cloth sleeve hidden from other bidders. The highest bid was 15,000 yen, or about $145 per kilogram. That's about 3/4 of last year's top price. The lackluster prices are an apparent reflection of a drop in demand for the fish from restaurants and other businesses amid the coronavirus pandemic.
Despite the current tough situation, the fishermen and others are doing their best to deliver blowfish from Shimonoseki.
The blowfish will be shipped mainly to the Tokyo and Osaka areas. It's time for a check on the weather with our meteorologist Jonathan Oh. We're seeing stormy weather in the southern portions of Europe, while snow is blowing through the mountains in the center of the continent. Jonathan has the forecast.
Hello, it's been quite active down toward the southern areas of Europe near the Balkan Peninsula. We've been dealing with a lot of heavy rain and stormy weather due to a low pressure system that's been spinning in the area. And we are looking at still more active weather as we go into Tuesday as the system continues to linger in the area. And you know what's interesting? We've got one low pressure system down toward the south, but another one that's moving into the Italian peninsula. So we're going to see yet more active weather there. So all in all, it's going to be a messy situation. Now, we are still looking at snow up into the mountainous areas in the central portions of the continent. And so that's going to really be the story for the next day or so. Eventually, we're going to be seeing a little development that's going to help increase the snow chances up toward the north into the Scandinavian peninsula by the middle of this week. So be on the lookout for that. Rain and thunderstorms from London into Berlin, Warsaw looking at a high of 3, Kyiv with some thunderstorms a high of 2, and we are looking at some showers to Istanbul with a high of 15 as we go through the day. Meanwhile, across Japan, we've been talking about this really heavy snow that's been falling across the northeastern portions of the nation, and you may notice the way that these clouds are rolling across the Sea of Japan, that is the sea effect snow that's been impacting the region. We will see some more snow as we go throughout the next few days. We have this low pressure system coming over the Sea of Japan, so for those of you located into the Togo and Hokuriku regions along the Sea of Japan, you'll see the snowfall as we go through the next couple of days. But that's not the end of the story. We go into Thursday and we'll have yet another more powerful system that will be coming in from the north and west, and that's going to really not only increase the snow chances and the amount of snow, but also in the process bringing down the temperatures. Look at this. Even in Tokyo and Osaka, we're looking at temperatures from the teens in Tokyo down to the single digits by Friday, and Osaka, you're getting close to the freezing mark for daytime highs as you go toward the end of the work week.